Things I never thought I would ever see in my whole entire life were happening in front of me. The Sherpa, in my interactions with them, they're not confrontational, they don't like conflict. To see you doing this is incredibly shocking.
For generations, Mount Everest, at 29,029 feet above sea level, has symbolized the ultimate in mountaineering adventures.
From dead bodies displayed in the snow to people vanishing into thin air, here is the new terrifying discovery on Mount Everest that scared scientists. Scaling Mount Everest is something that is on every adventurer's bucket list. Not only is Mount Everest the tallest mountain in the world, but it is also the peak of serenity and quiet, luring people from all over the world to step in and explore it. However, not all that is white is pure. Contrary to popular belief, Sir Edmund Hillary might not have been the first person to reach Everest's peak. It is thought that two Englishmen, George Mallory and Sandy Irvine, disappeared 100 feet from the summit in 1924. There is evidence showing the two as black dots heading to the mountain's summit. Sadly, the two never came back as a snowstorm struck. Mallory's body was found in 1999, and scientists wonder whether there is history to be rewritten with this information.
The original Hornbein route is never been repeated since 1963. Nobody was successful to repeat that route. It means this is already quite a challenge.
Mount Everest has been said to be a hotbed of the supernatural, with many believing that they are closer to God on the mountain. However, other climbers have felt something much more sinister and terrifying lurking in the icy shadows. These manifest as ghostly noises, strange lighting, and icy touches on the shoulders. Some people believe that the mountain is haunted by the spirits of the climbers who have died on the mountain.
I want to get through the ice fall and then I'll feel okay. So yeah, I'm nervous a little bit. It's just scary and dark out right now.
Do you think so too? The other terrifying discovery made by scientists has to be the zone of no return. This is a region above 8,000 meters where temperatures are so unfriendly that most people who go up past the point rarely return. This area puzzles scientists as they wonder why people keep on venturing forward despite this place being termed the death zone. Funny enough, there is a group of locals whose main purpose in life is to protect the mountain. British mountaineers John Griffith and his friends learned this the hard way when they pissed off the Sherpas. The Sherpas live in the shadow of the mountain and are well known for their endurance. However, they are very protective of their traditions and culture and do not hesitate to defend themselves where necessary.
Meanwhile, what was actually happening is that Yuli was stuck in the mess tent, surrounded by all the Sherpas, and they were demanding for him to come out.
This is why Griffith and his friends found themselves in hot water. They were so close to being executed were it not for the interference of Melissa Arnott, a 4-time Everest climber who knows the Sherpas and their customs. She advised John and his friends to leave and never come back. The trio received the message and ran away with their lives. If you think that is terrifying, then you should know that campers in the mountains have reported something that is far more horrifying than your wildest dreams.
There's a lot of hard work and hardship and risk involved in it, and to overcome those obstacles for some people, like myself, that's happiness.
At night, it is as if the mountain comes alive, and people have reported incidents of a loud, dreadful sound echoing all through the mountain. It feels as if the mountain is angry at all those people invading its space without respect. Luckily, scientists have discovered that this dreadful noise is a result of the rapid temperature in the Himalayas that causes the ice to break and start melting.
Mount Everest. It's no longer just a mountain, it's become everyone's go-to metaphor for a significant challenge.
Producing that angry sound. Mountaineer Eric Shipton was on his way one morning when he came across 2 giant footprints resembling human feet. He even found some fur nearby.
They came across a set of huge footprints that went away from them down the glacier, and it left them completely mystified.
Could those belong to a Yeti? DNA analysis revealed something that shocked the scientists. The fur belonged to a new and unique species not yet discovered. This has raised a lot of questions, with a majority of people hoping that they might catch a glimpse of the elusive creature. However, all these discoveries have nothing on the terror Jim Davidson experienced in 2015 on the mountain. He faced the most horrifying day of his life when an earthquake struck the mountain. This was the same earthquake that claimed the lives of over 9,000 people in Nepal. David survived the ordeal, but he was trapped on the mountain for 11 days. This man's ambition and determination made him go back to the mountain a year later after training every day and reach the summit despite having seen real terror there. When he reached the peak, he shared this joyous moment with his wife, having found the peak of his life literally.
And as I reached for the tent door, I missed the zipper. I missed by about a foot. because all of a sudden the tent just lifted into the air about 1 foot, hovered for about 2 seconds, and then dropped vertically back down.
Now, it is impossible for Mount Everest to have any wildlife because how would they survive in the harsh conditions, right? Surprisingly, Mount Everest is home to several wildlife creatures and insects, including grasshoppers, snow leopards, and the rare red panda. These animals defy all rules of nature and are well adapted to the harsh temperatures on the mountain. Did you know that a secret Soviet expedition had tried to scale Mount Everest in 1952, a year before Hillary and Tenzing conquered the mountain? The expedition team aimed to plant flags on the mountain, but they never returned.
When I was crossing a crevasse, a large lump of ice gave way on which I was standing, and I set off down a crevasse.
However, the Russians denied sending any team on the mountain. This mystery was left unsolved until 2017, when 4 bodies were discovered. Questions about the identities of these bodies and why they had never been reported missing were quickly raised. The Ministry of Tourism in Nepal claimed that the bodies belonged to people who had gone missing the previous year. However, the question still lingered. On Mount Everest, any climber that goes missing is reported. So when a body is found, autopsy and DNA testing can be done. However, these bodies have never been claimed, making it a fascinating mystery of the mountain. It is said that pride comes before a fall, but in this case, judge for yourself. The Swiss machine, Wally Steck, achieved many feats in terms of conquering Mount Everest. Now, he wanted to climb the mountain from both sides. Wally had scaled Everest so many times that his death was ironic and devastating. No one knows what had caused Wally to fall more than 300 feet to his death on a route he had been so familiar with. Scientists are believed that maybe Wally lost his balance and fell, but the reason behind this is still unknown. Without a doubt, Wally's passing is one of the most heartbreaking deaths reported on the mountain.
I've been a hiker and a skier and a climber for 35 years, but I also had a career as a geologist as well. I've been dreaming about climbing Everest for 30 years.
Looking at Mount Everest is so satisfying, with its magnificent snow-capped mountains, the white breadths of snow, and the beautiful sights when the sun's rays hit the summit. However, this beautiful mountain hides a very ugly truth. It is literally a giant poop dump. Every year, over 12,000 people visit the mountain. Without proper sanitation, people are forced to do their business on the ground, slowly turning the mountain into one big toilet. If you think sanitation is an issue, try thinking about all the garbage that has been disposed of in the area.
2008, I free climbed the whole face and I didn't have like any tracks in the face. That was my goal, to climbing like that, and it was a huge effort. And this time I was just curious to see in this kind of conditions and also pulling the gear like everybody else does.
It's true that the mountaineers take good care of themselves, but there are a few people who didn't get the hygiene memo. The next time you decide to hike up the mountain, be on high alert as you don't know what you might be stepping on. Reaching the summit of Mount Everest is a bittersweet moment. It gives you a sense of victory and accomplishment, but also a feeling of dread as you think about all those who have not made it.
Well, it appeared to be the lower part of a leg, and it was the heel. And I ascertained it was an old body, hobnail boots.
This is why there is the Rainbow Valley. It is a place where all the people who have died on the mountain are preserved. Their jackets are colorful, making them breathtaking to watch in the snow. This area serves as a reminder that climbing Mount Everest is a dangerous undertaking, so you have to be careful. In a shocking revelation, NASA has confirmed the discovery of marine fossils at the summit of Mount Everest, leaving scientists both excited and scared. Some argue that this finding supports the biblical flood narrative from the book of Genesis, while others remain doubtful. The supporters believe that marine life found its way to the mountain when the biblical flood occurred and stayed there for a while until the waters descended. NASA, however, asserts that these marine fossils align with the scientific theory of plate tectonics.
Of course, descending to South Col, this is just being on the main route, and then traversing into Lhotse. Also this, Dennis Rumko did it already, but I will not say it's just an easy traverse. So everything is already climbed once, but the whole link up has never been done.
Suggesting that Everest was once submerged in the ocean, with its formation attributed to the shifting of tectonic plates over a staggering 100 million years. The question arises, do you lean towards the biblical flood explanation or the scientific assertions about the ancient history of Mother Nature? Moving to stories of human activities on Everest, Maurice Wilson, a soldier in 1932, credited the power of prayer and fasting for curing his illness. Driven by faith, he set off on a climb of Everest in 1934 despite lacking mountaineering experience. He believed that all answers to his life lay at the top of the mountain, and he was determined to see it through. Unfortunately, Unfortunately, he encountered a large ice block and was advised to turn back, but he refused. Tragically, Morris died due to exhaustion at his tent despite reaching 23,000 feet, highlighting the profound impact of personal beliefs on Everest expeditions. Although his tale is tragic, many believers use it to show how much faith can move mountains.
On November the 8th, 1951, and Shipton and the expedition's Dr. Michael Ward were working on a glacier a couple of miles from here.
In another story of faith and sheer determination, British climbers Dougal Haston and Doug Scott, who reached Everest's summit in 1975, faced a life-threatening situation in the death zone. They found themselves in the dead zone and had to dig a hole to stay in for the night. They had no supplies, and their heater was dying.
Sunday night on the X2 bus, with the sort of grit embedded in your hands and the lichen and smelling it and the steamy heat on the back of the bus, then eventually get into the whole scene. Pubs and club dinners,
making them feel that they would perish within the night. Miraculously, they experienced a mysterious presence in the hole that provided tips and encouragement, sparking contemplation about the possibility of a guardian angel on Everest. They are not the only people to report strange occurrences where demotivated people have found themselves being encouraged by a strange being. Is it possible that a guardian angel dwells on this mountain and it encourages people not to give up even when everything seems bleak? There's only one way to find out. Pack your bags and hike.
Humble, ouais, c'est clair, un minimum quand même, ça te dresse de temps en temps en tout cas. Dès que tu t'enflammes un peu trop, elle te remet vite à l'ordre. Ça c'est bien ça. Pas moyen de tricher, ça qui est bien.
In 2001, Marco Siffredi snowboarded down Everest from the top to the base, something no one else had ever done.
Climbing Hornbein Couloir, get to the top of Everest, descending the normal route to South Col, having a big quick break, and then traversing in like Dennis Rupko did back in the days.
He conquered various dangerous routes, including the Norton Couloir, but he still felt that he needed to do more. He wanted to try the Hornbein Couloir, ignoring the advice of the Sherpa and other seasoned mountaineers. He set off and literally vanished into thin air. No trace of him has been found, and he remains a mystery. People speculate that he might have been swept away by an avalanche or fallen in a crevice, but nothing solid has turned out so far. The last thing on the list is a fact that keeps on puzzling scientists. It is so hard to believe that the greatest place on Earth can also be the deadliest. It is also very surprising to see that despite this, thousands of people flock to the mountain each year to attempt to reach the summit. These people are driven by personal goals to scale the mountain, and they refuse to give up no matter the challenge that comes their way.
The summit literally looks so close. You know, you think you could just pack a couple water bottles and extra fleece and just go.
Scientists have also tried to understand everything that goes on in the mountains, from the dead zone to the wildlife and the disappearances. More than 200 people have perished on the quest to climb the mountain. The people in the mountain are not shy about displaying the bodies of some of the mountaineers who have died to act as a warning to aspiring mountaineers that Mount Everest is deadly. In some cases, the mountaineers have to step over frozen bodies to proceed. To enthusiastic mountaineers, such accidents are tragic but unavoidable. The big question as we end this video is, why would you leave the safety of your home and go out to a place with a high chance that you'll perish?